Have you ever heard that NASA touched the sun and thought, wait, how is that even possible? The sun is literally a giant ball of fire, 1.3 million times the size of Earth, burning at over 15 million degrees Celsius at its core. So how did a spacecraft get close enough to touch it and not melt into cosmic butter? Today, we're diving deep, not just into science, but into what this mission teaches us about human limits, courage, and the power of curiosity. Because yes, this story is about NASA and the sun, but it's also about you, your goals, your limits, and how to push past them without burning out. Welcome to another episode of Everyday Curiosity, where we take the most mind-blowing questions and turn them into lessons for life, learning, and growth. Now, let's start with the burning question. How did NASA touch the sun without melting? In 2018, NASA launched the Parker Solar Probe, humanity's first mission to touch the sun. But wait, it didn't literally land on the surface because the sun doesn't have one. Instead, it flew through the sun's corona. That's the outermost layer of the sun's atmosphere. You might think the corona would be cooler than the surface, but here's the twist. The sun's surface is around 5,500 degrees Celsius, while the corona can reach millions of degrees. So, shouldn't the spacecraft melt instantly? Here's where things get fascinating. Temperature and heat are not the same thing. Think of it like this. Temperature measures how fast particles move, but heat measures how much energy those particles can transfer. The corona's particles move super fast, which means a high temperature, but the space between them is mostly empty, so there's very little heat to transfer. It's like standing in front of a blazing campfire, but instead of solid flames, it's just a few sparks floating in a vacuum. They're hot, but they can't really burn you because they can't touch enough of you to transfer their heat. So, the Parker Solar Probe could fly through the corona. Hot, yes, but not meltingly hot. Still, NASA needed protection, so they gave the probe a special heat shield made of carbon composite materials that can withstand up to 1,377 degrees Celsius. And behind that shield, the spacecraft stayed at a comfortable room temperature. Now think about that. The front side was facing temperatures hotter than molten lava. But just a few inches behind, everything stayed cool enough for the instruments to function. That's not magic. That's human engineering, patience, and vision. And that's our first lesson. You can get close to the fire without burning if you're prepared the right way.
Let's step back and think about what it means to touch the sun. The Parker Solar Probe isn't just flying by. It's orbiting closer and closer, making repeated passes. Each time it skims nearer, picking up data about the solar wind, magnetic fields, and charged particles that constantly stream from the sun toward Earth. This mission isn't just about exploration, it's about understanding the forces that shape life itself. Every flicker of sunlight you see, every warm day you feel, every solar storm that disrupts satellites, it's all connected to what Parker is studying. And here's a fun fact. The spacecraft is traveling faster than any human-made object in history, over 700,000 kilometers per hour. That's fast enough to travel from New York to Tokyo in less than a minute. But what's even more amazing is how this connects to us. When we chase our dreams, it often feels like flying toward the sun, bright, blinding, maybe even dangerous. You push forward, you feel the heat of pressure, doubt, exhaustion. But like the Parker probe, success isn't about avoiding the heat. It's about building your shield. That shield can be your mindset, your values, your routines, your self-discipline. Because life, like the sun, doesn't stop shining. It's your preparation that keeps you from burning out. Think about the engineers at NASA. They spent years designing a probe that could survive conditions no human had ever faced. They didn't rush. They calculated. They tested. They believed in something they couldn't see yet. And that's how you build your dreams, too. Slowly, layer by layer, heat-resistant, failure-resistant, doubt-resistant. You don't have to be NASA to aim for something extraordinary. You just have to build a shield strong enough to handle the heat that comes with ambition.
Now imagine explaining this to your friend. So yeah, NASA literally touched the sun. And your friend's like, cool, I can't even touch my toaster without burning my hand. It's funny, but it's also humbling because it reminds us how fragile and yet how powerful humans are. You see, the Parker Solar Probe wasn't built in a day, and neither are our personal missions. The sun represents not just danger, but potential energy. It fuels life, powers our planet, and inspires awe. Yet to learn from it, NASA had to take risks, controlled risks. There's a lesson there for anyone learning English, chasing self-improvement, or simply trying to grow a little every day. You can't grow in comfort. You grow in exposure. You grow when you fly close to your own sun, your fears, your weaknesses, your limits, and you face them with curiosity, not fear. NASA didn't send the probe and hope for luck. They used physics, materials science, human intuition, and they trusted the math. In your journey, the math is your preparation, your consistency, your belief that small steps matter. So next time you feel overwhelmed, like life's heat is too intense, remember the Parker Solar Probe. It didn't stop. It adjusted, recalculated, orbited closer, gathered data, and learned. That's how progress works, one orbit closer each time. And here's a humorous truth. Even NASA made mistakes along the way. Testing went wrong, components overheated, budgets ran out. But they didn't quit. Because failure, when faced with learning, becomes just another orbit, not a crash. So if you fail, don't back away from your sun. Just build a better shield. At its heart, the Parker Solar Probe story isn't about space, it's about persistence. It's about how far humanity can go when curiosity is stronger than fear, when preparation is deeper than panic, when vision outshines obstacles. That's what it means to touch the sun, not physically, but mentally and spiritually. It's daring to go where others said, "You'll burn." NASA didn't touch the sun to prove they could. They did it to understand it. And maybe that's your next mission too, to stop just surviving your fire and start understanding it. Ask yourself, what's your sun? Is it your dream career, your self-confidence, a skill you've always wanted to master? Because the sun isn't your enemy, it's your challenge. The heat isn't there to destroy you, it's there to refine you. Everyday learning, whether it's science, language, or self-growth, is your orbit. The closer you get, the more you feel the heat, and the more you learn to handle it. So next time you see a sunrise, remember this. Somewhere out there, a little spacecraft built by humans just like you is flying through that light, calm and unburned, because it was built with intention and courage. And maybe that's your reminder. You can do impossible things too, not by avoiding the fire, but by understanding it. If you found this story inspiring, stay curious. Subscribe, follow, and join me every day for new ideas, new perspectives, and stories that make you think, learn, and grow. Because in a world full of noise, curiosity is still the most powerful fuel.
See you in the next episode, where we'll explore another story that burns bright with knowledge.